Yashodanandana Raja Janarandana Yashodanandana Raja Janarandana Yashodanandana Raja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Anachari Jamuna Tira Anachari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning, fortunately, the verse is there on the board. So we can chant this together line by line. Please repeat after me. Chaturhotram kamartantram Upaveda naye saha Dharmasya padashchatvaras Tatevashram avrittaya Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The four kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the fire sacrifice became manifest. The performer, the chanter, the offerer, the fire, and the action performed in terms of the supplementary Vedas. Also the four principles of religiosity, truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties in the four social orders all became manifest. Purport. Eating, sleeping, defending, and mating are the four principles of material bodily demands, which are common to both the animals and human society. To distinguish human society from the animals, there is the performance of religious activities in terms of the social statuses and orders of life. They are all clearly mentioned in the Vedic literatures and were manifested by Brahma when the four Vedas were generated from his four mouths. Thus the duties of humankind in terms of the statuses and social orders were established to be observed by the civilized man. Those who traditionally follow these principles are called Aryans, or progressive human beings. Once more, this verse reads, Chatur hotram karma tantram upaveda nayai saha dharmasya padash chatvaras tatayavashrama vrittaya. Please repeat the translation after me. The four kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the fire sacrifice became manifest. The performer, the chanter, the offerer, the fire, and the action performed in terms of the supplementary Vedas. Also the four principles of religiosity, truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties in the four social orders all became manifest. Mukam karoti bhachalam mangam langayati girim yat kripad namande Sri Gurun dinatharanam Paramananda Madhavam. So, this is a very picturesque verse when linked with the verse of yesterday, that the four Vedas became manifest from the four mouths of Lord Brahma. And now today we're seeing how that manifestation practically appeared. That there are four kinds of paraphernalia for conducting homa, fire sacrifice. These are mentioned as the performer or the chanter of the mantras, the offerer, the one who pours the oblations into the fire itself, and the action performed in terms of the supplementary Vedas mentioned here in the verse Tantra, Karma Tantram, in the Upaveda. Yes. Also the four principles of religiosity, truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, emanated from Brahma's four mouths, and the duties of the four social orders. And also important in this connection is what is known as Chatur Varga. Chatur means four, and Varga means goals of life. So this is Dharma, Artha, Kam, Moksha. In the Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, in his purport, I believe, to text 20, around there, Srila Prabhupada also calls this Chaturvarga Purushartha. This is this is synonymous term. Together these four, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, may be called Purushartha, the goal of life. But Prabhupada stipulates in this purport that these are materialistic goals of life. Even though they have their origin in the Vedas. So Dharma means material religiosity. Artha means, of course, the wealth that comes from performing pious activities. When one performs pious activities, then that attracts opulence. And we're speaking of opulence in the Vedic sense. So this is all in the mode of goodness. Srila Prabhupada says the Varna Ashram Dharma, in general, the whole system exists in the mode of goodness. So therefore, the value system is sattvic. So, as you know very well, Artha primarily, in most broadest strokes, means cow and land. So this is agrarian culture, this is sattvic. Dharma, Artha, then Kam, and naturally, as a result of accumulation of wealth, then what follows is sense gratification, but this also is supposed to be in terms of Dharma. It's not that when Kama comes, it cancels out Dharma. But this is within the same framework. And finally, all of this, when performed within the Vedic context, according to these scriptures manifesting from the mouth of Lord Brahma, then one at the end achieves moksha. Just as we hear in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagnau, Brahmanahutam, Ramayva karma gantavya. Brahma karma samadhana. Yes. So Lord Krishna is actually speaking about these various items of sacrifice. So he mentions the offering, the offerer, the act of offering. So all of these achieve Brahman. Now, last night in the Bhagavad Gita class, I drew your attention to this verse in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Nityam Jagne Pratishtata, which says that all acts of sacrifice are situated eternally within Brahman, Karma, Brahmatvavan Vivam, Brahmakshara Samudbhavam. So this Brahma or Brahman is initiated by the scriptures themselves. They're also called Brahma or Brahman. The Vedic sound vibration, Shabda Brahma. So therefore activities performed in harmony with that sound vibration are also Brahman. And when followed properly in Guru Parampara, then they culminate in liberation. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. But even this liberation is not, it is considered a spiritual goal, but it is not the supreme spiritual goal, because it is still self-interested. If I want to be liberated from a situation, even in relative terms, if I find myself in some difficult circumstance, and I want to get out of that circumstance, I'm just thinking of myself. And so similarly, even if one wants to, if his goal is to get free of this material world, that is, of course, that is, in one sense, very exalted and very rare. Manushanam sahasreshu kashchid yatatisadeya. Krishna says, out of, you can look at thousands and thousands of human beings, and it's hard to find anyone who's interested in siddhi. In this sense, in this verse, siddhi means the perfection of liberation. But then he goes on to say, so you find here and there those who are striving for liberation, but kaschin mam veti tatvataha. Among them, you hardly find even one who knows about me, knows me in truth. So you see, just to strive for liberation, although the Vedas are mostly coming only to that conclusion, but that still is not the supreme goal of life. Therefore, that Advaitam Achyutam Animantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayomanam Cha Bedeshur Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto Govindam Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So, in this particular verse in the Sri Brahma Samhita, it's very interesting because it is using the language of the Vedas in describing the personality of Godhead, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. These are words that are often repeated in the Upanishads, which are the Shastras, the scriptures that are dedicated to moksha dharma, to religion, the religion of liberation, the path of liberation. So the Lord there, yes, he's described Advaitam, non-dual, Achyutam, infallible, Anantarupam, endless form. Yet at the same time, Navayovana, eternally youthful. So who is this? This is Govinda, Krishna. But Bedeshu Durlabham, this conclusion that this mysterious Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan is actually, that is pointed to in the Upanishads, the Vedanta literature, is actually Krishna himself. This is very difficult to understand through the pages of the Vedas. Even Brahma himself had difficulty in understanding that Krishna is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Purna Bhagavan, his ultimate worshipable object. Because Brahma, he's, as I told you last night in the Gita class, it is explained that his, I believe this is in Brihad Bhagavatamrita by Sri Sanatana Goswami. It is mentioned that Brahma's own deity, his personal deity, is Mahapurush, the Mahapurush form of the Lord, which means Almighty Vishnu, who expands himself, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Mahavishnu Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Chirodaksha Vishnu. I explained this last night for the purpose of creation, maintenance, and destruction of the universe. And Brahma himself, the source of his position is Garbhadaksha Vishnu. He's the son of Garbhadaksha Vishnu, appearing from the Padmanabha, lotus navel. And Garbhadaksha Vishnu manifests the Mahapurusha, or universal form of the Lord. So this is his deity. So this is how he thinks of Bhagavan. So when he saw Krishna performing his pastimes in Vrindavan 5,000 years ago, he was doubtful. He had information that the avatar of my Lord is supposed to appear, and he's supposed to appear in Vrindavan. This information he had every clue was there that this should be the Supreme Lord, but still he was doubtful. But he's a cowherd boy, and he's just herding cows and playing with his friends, and it seems so ordinary. So therefore this Brahma Vimohana Lila, his attempt to test Krishna by stealing away the calves and Krishna's friends. And then in the end he could understand when he saw unlimited Narayan forms emanating from this little blue cowherd boy. Any one of those Narayan forms is for Brahma, God Almighty. And he saw countless coming out of the body of little Krishna. And then it is said he fell like a stick. Those four heads with their helmets, they clanked at the Lord's lotus feet. He fell like a stick paying his dandavats. And he began his prayers by saying, others may say that they know something about you, but I, Brahma, who is the origin of the Vedas, the giver of the Vedas in this universe, I must admit that I know nothing about your glories. So you see, again, as Krishna says in Gita, that these Vedas are mainly dealing with material subject matter. Triguna Vishya Veda. Therefore, Nistraiguna Bhava Arjuna. Arjuna, you have to rise above this. So then beyond this Purusharta, Chatur Varga, there is what Prabhupada calls the fifth. And that is, Srila Prabhupada terms this Purusharta Shiromani and Prema Pumarto Mahan, it is called also. So Purusharta Shiromani. Shiromani means crown jewel. Yes, Purusharta. This is the goal of life. This is the goal of life. Prema Pumarto Mahan. The supreme goal of life. The supreme artha. Prema, love of Krishna. Purushartha Shiromani, but it is the supreme goal. Beyond dharma, artha, kama, moksha, which are still, you see, situated within the duality of the material conception. This is in the Manusamhita, which is the law book of mankind, which is outlining the whole dharma for everyone. The 4 varnas, the 4 ashrams, all their duties and their goals to be attained by these duties. All of that is given in Manusamhita. But Manusamhita, the very beginning, is also describing in brief the creation. And Manusamhita clearly says that the creation originates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Manusamhita says this whole creation exists within duality. So in Gita, Icha Dvesha Shmutina Dvandva Mohena Bharata. So all living entities are born into Dvandva Moha, into the illusion of duality. So you see, Manusamhita begins admitting this. And Manusamhita, by admitting this, is saying that also these rules of dharma that are presented in this scripture, so-called, the right way of life, as opposed to the wrong way of life. This is also part of that duality. You see? So Krishna says, Icha dvesha shmutina dvanda mohina bharata. And then elsewhere, Dvav imo sargo lokesmin, again talking about the sarga, the creation. That in this creation there are 2 categories of living entities, Daiva and Asura. The saintly persons or pious persons, exemplified especially by the Devatas, the demigods, and they are opposed by the Asuras, the demons. So one is accepting Vedic Dharma and the other rejects. But this is the material world. So Srila Prabhupada says this 5th dimension, again referring to this purport in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, he says beyond these 4 stages of material life as ordained in the Vedas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, there is, Prabhupada explains in this purport, there is Cheto Darpana Marjana. There is the purification of the heart by the process of Sankirtan, which is the only means of attaining this Purushartha Shiromani, this supreme goal of life, the 5th dimension of love of Godhead. So this Cheto Darpana Marjanam, this cleansing of the mirror of the heart, means cleansing the heart of duality. This mundane sense of good and evil, right and wrong, piety versus sinfulness. Even that has to be cleared off from the heart. Now we see the Bhagavad Dharma, that means the path of religion presented in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This, for one who is still entrapped within this dualistic, Hare Krishna, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. For one who is still entrapped within this dualistic way of thinking, dualistic mentality, the Bhagavad Dharma is very difficult to understand. You have, for example, in Canto 6, Vritrasura. He's an asura. He's a demon. And the mission of his life is to kill Indra, who was the king of the demigods. And he fights with Indra. And he's defeated by Indra, who uses this Vajra weapon made from the bones of Dadichi to lop off Vritrasura's arms and his head. So, and you actually find in the Vedas themselves, I believe it's the Rig Veda, Indra is glorified as the one who killed Vritra. So you see, in the Vedas, the killing of Vritrasura is understood. There was this big demon, this evil person who threatened the order of the world, and the great Indra, hero of the pious persons, killed him. End of story. This is the Vedic depiction. But when we go to Bhagavatam, we find a much, much deeper dimension to this story. As it turns out, Vritrasura is at heart a pure devotee of the Lord, who, by the curse of Parvati, because, guna karma vibhagasha, prakriti kriyamanani, all activities in this material world are carried out by material nature, and material nature means Parvati Devi. So she cursed King Chitraketu that he would have to have the body of an asura, and he would have the karma of an asura. The modes of nature conducting his activities would be demoniac. So then he took this form. He appeared from the fire of Twashtva. As a Vritrasura literally means an asura who covers the sky. He was so huge and so feared by all the demigods. But at heart he was a devotee. He had received transcendental knowledge from Narada Muni in his previous lifetime, and that knowledge is never lost. Nehabrikamonashtosti pratyavayana vidyate svapamapya siddharma sitrayate mahato bayat. It is not lost. So he having accepted the curse of Parvati Devi, he had to follow the karma of that body and oppose Indra. But all the while he was praying to the Lord within his heart, please save me, please accept me as your devotee. And he fought with his full power, but by the grace of the Lord it was arranged that Indra could defeat him with this special Vajra weapon. And he died happily. Vritrasura was so happy to be relieved from this inauspicious body. And he went back home, back to Godhead. Like in the Monopoly game, do not pass go, do not... He went go directly to jail. Yes, go directly to jail. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. So he went directly from that asura body back home, back to Godhead. And Indra, who is celebrated in the Vedas as the victor, as the hero of the pious ones, he had to remain in this material world and collect the result of his activities. And although he did kill Vritrasura, who was a demon, Vritrasura was also a Brahmana, and so there was a heavy reaction for Indra that he had to suffer as a result. So who actually was victorious? If the ultimate victory is to be released from samsara and go back home, back to Godhead, and actually it was Vritrasura who was the victor. It was Vritrasura who was the actual pious one. You see, so this is Bhagavad Dharma, and this is bewildering for those who are locked into the material conception of good versus evil, this duality. So this is our good fortune, because, age of Kali. What is this age? This is the age of sinfulness. This is, it is said in the Bhavisya Purana. I had someone translate for me some passages of Bhavisya Purana. And it was very interesting to find that There was a time in the previous Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, when the Malecha population had become very excessive. I guess this was as Dwapara Yuga was coming closer and closer to Kali Yuga. Then more and more Malechas appeared on the earth. But the Malechas, being so increased in their number, they became rambunctious, they became a bit out of control. And they stepped across a line. They killed a Vedic king named, I believe his name was Chemaka, and his son Pradyota, yes, that was his son's name. So his young son had to take over the rulership of the earth, and he called the Brahmanas and asked them, what is the fate of my father? He was killed by these Malechas, and they said, yes, that was an impure death. Because he died at the hand of Malechas, he's gone to hell. So what can I do about this? Well, we can perform for you a big yagya. It was actually a Malecha yagya, in the sense of a yagya in which, just like there was later on, Maharaj Janmanjaya performed a snake sacrifice, Sarpa Yagya, in which the Brahmins called all the serpents to fall into the fire. So these Brahmins, they called all the Malechas from all over the world. And it's very interesting because their places are mentioned. You see, China, which today we say China, and Huna, and all these, the place of the Huns, and the islands in the ocean, where today you go to these islands in the Pacific Ocean, you find, quite seemingly primitive people. So anyway, a whole list of different types of Malechas are mentioned. And so they were all brought by mantra, by the power of the Vedic mantras, to this tremendous fire kunda. And they were burned up in the fire of yagya. So that was good for them. A purified death. And this also relieved Maharaj Chemaka from his hellish condition. And he was promoted to heaven as a result. So the result of this, what happened after this Malecha Yagya, is that the personality of Kali, of course this was not his age, it was still Dwapara Yuga, but the personality of Kali, he's always there, he's always around. Because there's the story of, in the Puranas, of Maharaj Nala, and that was in a previous age, but also the personality of Kali ruined him. It wasn't even Kali Yuga. So the personality of Kali, he's a Yuga Purusha, so these Yuga Purushas are always around. And they just have their particular age where they become prominent. So the personality of Kali, although it was not his age, because they were Malechas, so it can be said he's a demigod, because he does come from the line of Brahma's direct creation. So he's a kind of demigod, but demigod of sin. This is his business, is to be the manager of sinful activities. So with Malechas he had something to do. You see, he had some engagement. He wasn't involved with the Vedic civilization, but there were these Malechas, so he could, so to say, do his thing with them. Then suddenly they were all gone. And so he had nothing to do. And it is also said in the Bhavisya Purana that the wives of the Malechas, they did not perish in the fire, but they were left without husbands. So they all came to Kali Raj. And they were all crying, and please give us shelter, what can we do? So because he is a kind of demigod himself, Bhavisya Purana explains that he then performed himself great tapasya for a long, long time. And Lord Vishnu appeared to him as a result of his tapasya. Lord Vishnu appeared to him and consoled him. He said, don't worry, because he's saying, look at all these wives of Malechas, and they're all in trouble. The Malecha race is now finished, and I have nothing to do. I can't do my duty. And Lord Vishnu said, you just be patient. Because not long from now, your age is coming. There will be an age, Kali Yuga, in which you will have complete mastery of the earth. Not just malechas, but everyone. Everyone will come under your control. And you'll be able to propagate sin without any restraint. So then Kali became very, can't wait. It's a very interesting, a whole very interesting story, because then the new race of malechas, the new population malechas, began with two, a man and a wife who were performing austerities in the forest. Their names were Adama and Havyavati. Interesting. Yes. In fact, in Hebrew, that woman that we call Eve is, I found in the original Hebrew, is Hava, something like that. So Havyavati is the Sanskrit name. And the personality of Kali, he assumed the form of a snake. And he came to them, and there was a tree, because Havyavati, she used to collect food from the forest, foodstuffs, roots and fruits to prepare for a husband. But there was one tree called Papa Vriksha, tree of sinful desire. Like there's Kalpa Vriksha, this was a Papa Vriksha. And her husband had always told her, never take any fruit from that tree. Any other tree you can take fruit, but not that one. And the snake persuaded her, this is a very good tree, very nice fruit. You take and you serve to your husband. So she did that, and he ate, and then his heart became polluted by sinful desire. So then they had sexual relations, and out of the sexual relations, the malechas again appeared on earth, and they propagated very quickly. It's a very interesting story in the Bhavisya Purana. So anyway, yes, this is the age of sinfulness. And we are born in this age. So, and the other thing is that the traditional Vedic Dharma, which is being described here, of fire sacrifice and 4 orders of life, and Chatur Varga, all these things. This doesn't function in this age. It becomes, this, popular word, dysfunctional, doesn't work anymore. So then what is our position? The Kali Santra Upanishad, the last verse, verse 11, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja. Different language. Sarva Dharma Parityaga. Sarva Dharma Parityaga. Like Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Parityaja. Krishna tells Arjuna, Sarva Dharma Parityaja, you give up all Dharma and just surrender to me. Kali Santra Upanishad says, Sarva Dharma Parityaga, you have given up all your Dharma. In this Kali Yuga. There is no Dharma. It's a kind of very interesting twist. In this Kali Yuga, there is no Dharma. So Sarva Dharma Parityaga Sadhyo Suchitamapuya Sadhyo Muchyate Iti Upanishad. But still there is a way Sadhyo Muchyate, to immediately become purified of this sinful condition of having been born in the Kali Yuga. Sadhyo Muchyate, you can become immediately purified. Iti Upanishad, so says this Upanishad. And what does this Upanishad say? What is the centerpiece of this Upanishad? Hiranyagarbha Uvacha, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Nam Kali Kalmashanashanam Nataparataro Paro, Sarva Vedeshu Drishyati. That by chanting these 16 syllables of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then the effect of Kali Yuga is destroyed. The influence of Kali Yuga is destroyed. And you can look through all the Vedas and you will not find another remedy for the pollution of the age of Kali than this, the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is the centerpiece, the central message of this Upanishad. So yes, Sarvadharma Parityaga. We're born into this age, so we have no dharma. That is our misfortune. But still there is a way out for us if we take to this chanting of the holy name. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are so fortunate, he has come in this particular Kali Yuga to saturate the syllables of the holy name with his own Gora Prema, his own love of Krishna, because he is Radha and Krishna in one golden personality. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya. So in other Kali Yugas, in which the original Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not appear, the Yuga Dharma is there. But like we see, if you look at the language of this Kali Santarana Upanishad, it is also only going up to moksha. After giving the Maha Mantra, then Lord Brahma, he goes on to say, Narada asks him, is there any vidhi, any ritualistic performance associated with this mantra? And Brahma says, no. Tamhovacha nasya vidhirati saveda suchira sucheva. There is no ritualistic performance. You just chant whether you are pure or impure. Suchirva suchira. You may be pure or impure, doesn't matter. Then he goes on to say, Patan Brahmana, this chanting alone is your path back to Brahman, back to the spiritual world. Patan Brahmata, Salokatam, Samipatam, Sarupatam, Suyuj. He mentions then these different liberations, including Sayujya Mukti, oneness, or Salokatam, attaining the planet of the Lord, and so on. Sarupatam, attaining a form like the Lord. But these are just stages of liberation. And one who achieves love of God is not interested in liberation, even the personalist liberations. They're simply interested in serving Krishna under any condition whatsoever. Ashlishava paradatam panashtumam adarshana mamahatam karotuva. This is the real mood of love. Krishna, you may be with me. Samipya. Samipya means to be in the association of the Lord. And this is one of the liberations mentioned by Brahma. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you may be in my association, or you may not be. You may neglect me, you may be far away. With Chandravali, because he's speaking in the mood of Radharani. After all, you are lampat, you are debachi, you are free to do what you want. But still you are the Lord of my life. So this is the mood of prema. So this is beyond moksha. In other yugas, Kali Yugas, the chanting of Hare Krishna permits one to achieve moksha in spite of the disqualifications of this age. But in this particular one Kali Yuga, throughout the whole day of Brahma, in which the original Lord Gauranga has appeared, taking the role of the Yuga avatar, one may achieve pure love of Godhead, Krishna prema, by this Sankirtan process. So again, Vedeshu Durlabham. This is very difficult to know this through the pages of the Vedas. But Adurlabham Atma Bhakto, through pure devotion of the self, then it becomes easy to understand. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Would there be one question?
Someone go to the planet of Vaikuntha planet. He had some love to God, but it's not exactly Krishna Prema. Which is the...
Yes, to achieve. You see, Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada explains, and also there's that book Brahman and Vaishnava by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Also, I remember from there too. That is explained that in Vaikuntha Dham, the main bhav, or the predominating mood of devotion is the dasya ras. So, but in Goloka Vrindavan, the predominant mood is Madhura, rasa. And it may be said that, well, the other rasas are there, Krishna's friends are there, and even cows are there who are in the Shanta ras, and servants are there. But you see, they're all, the center of their activity is also the Madhura Lila of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. Just like Krishna's cowherd friends, yes, they are in Sakya Ras with Krishna, but they're bringing Krishna because they're brothers of gopis. So brother and sister, they can talk, they can also meet and talk. So the gopis who are desirous of meeting Krishna, they talk to their brothers who are Krishna's friends. They give their brothers notes. Meet me at such and such kunja tonight at such and such hour. And so the friend delivers this message. So the friends are serving Krishna's enjoyment, which is in the Madhura Ras. So this is the predominant mood in Goloka Vrindavan. And that is only achievable, by Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Okay? So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.